Welcome back to another episode of Top Shelf here on the Filmaholic channel. This is the episode where we always give our lists, a top 10 list with some honorable mentions of whatever the topic is for that week. And this week, we're finishing up like the films of the decade type thing we've been doing, and we're doing the top 10 films before 1980. We decided to do this instead of by decade because, just unfortunately, I haven't seen enough films from each decade, especially before 1970. That I would want to make a top 10 because I don't know how confident I feel about it. Like, I wouldn't be that passionate about talking about every film. I need to watch more from each decade. And down the line, I'd like to go and do a top 10 from each decade, but that'll be down the line from now once I actually watch more movies, which I am diving into Westerns now, trying to watch some more of those. And just films in general. But a lot of times I don't know. That's a different topic. A lot of them have issues that I'm like, keeps it from getting that high. But yeah. So to kick things off, we like always we do our 5 honorable mentions that didn't quite make the top 10 list, but are worth noting. So starting at number 15 for me is Alfred Hitchcock's Rope, 1948. We watched this in the Hitchcock class we took in college. Really liked it. It was one of those films that takes place all in one set.
Yeah.
And really dives in on the characters and the writing. I thought this was a really good one. I like the way it looked, the cinematography. Jimmy Stewart does a good job in this, and as well as all of the cast, really. It's a good film. I definitely recommend checking that out. My number 14 is All of the President's Men from 1976. Have you seen this one?
Nope.
Really good, excellent film. Both of these I have at 4.5. I'll tell you when they start to 5 ratings. But this is a 4.5. I watched this last year, and was really impressed by it. It's one of those like political journalist films. You would like it. You really into Spotlight, so.
Spotlight's incredible. I will not tolerate disrespect.
You got Dustin Hoffman in here and Robert Redford. And you also have the guy, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's in Once Upon a Time in the West as Cheyenne. But he's in there too as pretty much, I think I want to say that he is actually playing the same character that Tom Hanks plays in The Post. I think, which is Jason Robards. He's also in Magnolia as Tom Cruise's dad in that film.
Yeah.
But he's in this. He plays Ben Bradley in All the President's Men. Really like this one though. And then number 13, I have Alien from 1979. Another 4.5. One of the best horror films ever made, I think. Just pretty much like if I was going to compare, which I don't really like doing that, but like other people like, oh, this is Jaws, whatever, like comparing it, like essentially, this was like, if you look at Jaws, you're like, how can we recreate this? Let's put Jaws in space. And that's essentially what Alien kind of feels like to me, but without the being, I don't know, the same level of characters and attachment that you feel to things in Jaws, because this film is really cold. I mean, and it's intentionally supposed to be like that, but yeah, I mean, this one doesn't. There's only one alien in this one, and it's on the ship, and it's picking them off one by one, and it's just iconic. My number 13. My number 12 is Casablanca, which is a film that I need to rewatch. It might be higher if I rewatched it, but it's been a long time. But it is a 4.5 for me, and it's in number 12. Very good film. Number 11 is It's a Wonderful Life. That rounds out my honorable mentions. It's a Wonderful Life, one of my favorite Christmas films. Jimmy Stewart's great in this. Grew up watching this with my dad at Christmas time. Came in number 11 for me.
We're going to have very different lists.
Yeah?
Yeah. The number 15 for me, I got Cool Hand Luke. Paul Newman. I haven't seen it. No? Well, yeah. Why would you? Just don't bother. I've only seen it twice, but the last time I watched it, really appreciated it a lot more. yeah, incredible performance all around. Love the cinematography and the way it feels. Number 14, it'll be your number one on your list, is The Exorcist.
I was about to kill you.
One of my favorite horror movies. You're missing out. I know you just don't care about it. So this is.
I just don't understand. I guess that if I was in that time, maybe I'd just be blown away. But I watched it. I don't know if it was for my horror film class. Was that the first time I watched it or what it was? I'm sure it was, but I was just like, okay.
I watched it. I think I was like 10 or 11 the first time. Stayed up. I was on my computer. I was like, oh, I want to watch it. Probably like 2 a.m. Everybody was asleep. It got me. It's like, it's going to be an all-nighter. Not going to sleep while the sun's down. Incredible. Love the score. You need to revisit it. Number 13, I got Rope. A little bit higher than you. Love Jimmy Stewart. The cinematography. I think there's only 7 cuts in the movie. 6 or 7, something like that. Number 12, I've got Modern Times. Charlie Chaplin. Hey man, back off. I got my Criterion collection over there.
Well, you keep it.
Just incredible. Look at the times. How business just doesn't care about the workers. Just keep replacing them. And then my final honorable mention is Rear Window, Hitchcock. Guess you just.
I guess it kicks off my number one on my list here. That's my number 10, my top 10 list. My number 10 is Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock. This movie is almost a 5-star film for me, as well as most of the ones that are 4.5 on my list. I have 5 films in my top 10 that are 4.5, but could fluctuate, when I revisit them, because there's some of these I haven't seen in a while. Like, I watched Rear Window. Rewatched it last year, and it's staying at a 4.5, but it's almost a 5. There's a couple things. I think I'm trying to think of my complaints that I had last time we watched it. I know kind of how he treats her.
Yeah, he treated her.
I didn't really care for that.
But you got me watching Mad Men. You don't care the way.
Well, I mean, Mad Men, though, it's like a thing of like showing how they were at that time.
That's how they were at that time.
But this is different though. This is not looking back and showing it. This is like actually then and like making it. I don't know. Yeah.
That was during the time. Ain't no looking back.
I don't know. It was a complaint that I had, but this is a very good film. It was obviously very influential on other films too, like Disturbia and what have you. Just great. Just taking this apartment complex. It was great. Just a great idea, and you just put it in one set too. And when I went to Paramount last year during the summer and did the tour, that's where Rear Window, as well as a lot of Hitchcock films, were filmed. It was at Paramount, and they were talking about how, and they took us by the soundstage where it was filmed at, and that whole set with the apartments was filmed inside this soundstage, and how he actually like dug into the ground in the soundstage and like the floor and everything, and took it deeper so that they could like fit everything in there that needed to be in there. He also, like, this sucks for the crew and everything, because we were talking to the disaster artist, how he talked about how Hitchcock was getting his real performances and reactions and everything. They were filming scenes with the cars, and they couldn't actually you can't actually have fumes with like a car in a soundstage, obviously for obvious reasons. Well, he didn't care. He just did it anyways. People like started passing out. So learned that on the tour. But yeah, like you said, Jimmy Stewart, I like him a lot. He's one of the best actors from that time period. So that's my number 10.
Well, number 10.
And Grace Kelly too. It's one I love Grace Kelly.
Oh yeah. Jimmy Stewart, man. It's the only person in the movie. He's on my list a few times.
That is the only time in my top 10. But
Oh.
obviously, he was in 2 of my honorable mentions as well.
My number 10 is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, didn't make mine.
You're missing out.
That's one I haven't seen since like what, at least high school.
I don't know.
Which probably based off my memory, I'd probably have it at 4, maybe a 4.5.
You are crazy. It's one that absolutely fits for the current climate, all the issues going on. Gregory Peck was just incredible in that role. Robert Duvall, breakout performance. Just watch this, I don't know, at least usually like once a year. Have it at my grandparents'. I go over there. I'm like, oh, it's time to watch this again on the VHS. Pop it in. Old school technology, old school movie. Yeah, fantastic movie.
All right, my number 9, another Hitchcock movie, and that is North by Northwest from 1959. What's funny?
Figured it'd be on there higher.
Well, yeah, I love North by Northwest. One of my favorites of Hitchcock. Probably my second favorite of his movies, I would say. Which there's another one of his that's a little bit higher, but there's a couple that I need to revisit of his, or that I haven't seen. But most of his movies I feel like I've seen because we took that class, and then ones that I've watched outside that class too. Most of his movies I like. Based off my memory, I've given everything at least probably a 3.
You can revisit The Lodger. I've got a copy of that for you.
I would revisit it. I mean, check it out. But
5-star.
North by Northwest, I mean, looking back in 1959, this is just, it's a little bit different than his other movies. I mean, he's still got the thriller angle, the suspense, but this is so big, I think. It's like just this action, adventure, thriller, all of it's in one. Cary Grant in there is the lead. I thought he was perfect for it. I know Jimmy Stewart wanted the lead role, I think, looking at the time. And they studio, I don't know if it was studio or just Hitchcock in general, was like, they thought he looked too old.
Put it in black and white.
And 59 said they were like, nope, because he just made Vertigo the year before.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got Cary Grant, which I thought was great. I love the set pieces in this movie too. Mount Rushmore, all that. Really fun film. Number 9.
My number 9, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Figured it'd be on your list.
Fantastic. And like I said, it's a lot. Well, I haven't seen any of these top 15. 1 or 2 of them I've watched recently, but other than that, it's been a long time. So I mean, my list could change drastically if I rewatched all these. But yeah, one of the best westerns ever made. Phenomenal score. Clint Eastwood just blowing up.
I do love the score. Score is just phenomenal.
You better love the score. It's just incredible.
Best thing about
stuck in your head.
That and the cinematography.
And is that Morricone too? Did the score? But yeah, I mean, you had this. I can't remember if it was still going on, but it was when he was doing the television show Rawhide, and couldn't get out of the contract, so he started going to do spaghetti westerns, which obviously launched his career. So good for him.
Yeah, I have this at a 3.5. I just watched it recently. It's good, but I don't. Yeah, I was just when I watched it, I was like, man, it's like Tarantino's one of his favorite movies, and must have missed it. I don't know.
Yeah, you did apparently.
I just got so bored during the Civil War stuff. Like I was really into it at the beginning, but then they lost me.
Yeah.
Brought it down. But not a bad film. It's good. Moving on to my number 8, and that is The Wizard of Oz from 1939. Not on your list.
Oh, my list, no.
Classic. just I grew up. This is one of the movies I grew up with too. Grandparents had it on VHS.
Yeah.
Then.
Just watched this on the big screen last year.
I would like to see it on the big screen.
Dolby, down there at Concord Mills.
Nice. Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. But just so iconic, magical.
Yeah.
Love
I bet it blew their minds watching this in theaters when it turns to color.
Would have blew my mind, but
yeah.
Can't imagine. I don't know. Wasn't it not taken that well when it came out for begin with?
They're idiots.
But maybe I'm thinking, I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking of the right thing, but maybe I'm thinking about It's a Wonderful Life. That wasn't taken that well.
Yeah, that wasn't taken well.
I don't understand. But yeah, that when it switches to color, that's awesome. The Witch is, great film. Not a break.
Scarecrow's my favorite.
Yeah, mine too.
My number 8, Casablanca.
Okay, higher than me.
Very, very much so.
But like I said, I haven't seen that one in a long time.
And you haven't?
I have it, but I haven't seen it since I think I watched it in Appreciation, which I took in 2014. So it's been about 6 years since I've seen it.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I watched it, but I just love the screenplay so much. Started Humphrey Bogart. I don't know if I've seen him in anything else. Not that I can think of, but loved his performance, the cinematography. I like, the location just pretty much. I think there's a few shots like outside of the bar, but other than that, you're like in there the whole time. Yeah.
It's a really good one. Iconic, once again. Moving on to my number 7. This is going to blow your mind. Rocky 2.
Jesus.
Rocky 2, 1979. Barely making the cut.
What was Rocky movie?
You are insane. I don't know what your problem with Rocky 2 is. You need to rewatch it. You're missing out. I'm not going to say it will, but when I do my next Rocky rewatch, which will be sometime this year, Rocky 2 might move up to be my favorite. I don't know. I'm not gonna go up that far.
I don't think you would have said that if you didn't know Tarantino liked it that much. I think that influenced you great.
Well, if you think that, taking what he said and looking at that, it has influenced me. But I've always liked Rocky 2 a lot. It's always been high up there for me, and for some reason, it hasn't been for you. And
it's boring, man.
I just don't see what you find boring. And that's what I'm like. I look at what he said about it, and I take that, and I'm like, it's true. And also, it doesn't have that one scene, which Rocky's a 5-star film for me, but it does have that one scene, which it doesn't bother me that much because I know that Stallone made this film, so it's his vision. And it's like it's not how the character's not supposed to feel uncomfortable. The character is supposed to be into the scene. But it doesn't come across that way when you watch it. I know. It does now watching it, it's like...
Yeah, he raped her.
No, it's not. That's not what happens. It's what it feels like, but it's not what happens.
That is 100% what happened, dude.
He wrote the characters.
He
knows what the intent of the characters were, but it does feel weird, and I don't know. And now that we've talked about it so much that it already bothered me last time I watched it. So Rocky may move down in terms of that. The next time I watch it, which would move, and Rocky 2 might move up because I do love Rocky 2. Like looking at the things. First of all, you have his rematch with Apollo, but I love the stuff that it focuses on, like him and her getting married at the beginning, them having the kid. Him trying to leave this life behind, Rocky 2 doesn't pick up with him after the fight, and like Rocky 3 does, and it's like, boom, he's this famous boxer. He's over it. He's like taking his money and he's like trying to get out of it, and then he realizes he needs more money, so then he goes into like commercials and stuff, and it's not working out, and then he ends up working back at the factory, and it's like, how do you go from being at the top of the world one minute to back working in this factory the next, and and then he has to obviously go back and take the fight again and fight Apollo. So Rocky 2, it'll probably move up. I'm not sure if it'll move up to a 5, but it could. I really love that film. And then obviously Rocky 3, for me, still a 4-star, still really good, but it drops down. It's my least favorite of the first 4. But yeah, that's my number 7.
Well,
It was also the first Rocky film that Stallone came in and directed himself to.
well,
Rewatch it, dude.
my number 7 is It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
Great Christmas movie. Definitely a must-watch that time of the year. Like you already said, Jimmy Stewart, fantastic. Donna Reed. All the characters are just incredible in that movie. It's just insane concept. What if you weren't born? How everybody's life is just different because of it. I go watch it right now. Good. But yeah, Jimmy Stewart, definitely. Waiting for that biopic with Ryan Gosling playing him.
Oh man, make it happen.
I'm trying, dude.
Bring in Damien Chazelle, direct it too.
Telling you, if I had connections, this is the movie I'd be making.
All right, moving on to my number 6, and I'm assuming this is going to be on your list, but maybe not, and that is Rebel Without a Cause, 1955.
My number 5.
All right.
I'll get you back in a second.
No, man. Yeah, that's my number 6. My favorite. Well, I used to own them, and I should just. I can't believe I didn't finish all 3, but I've seen obviously Rebel Without a Cause plenty of times, and I've seen East Eden several times. Rewatched both of them last year. Giant, I watched like half of it back when I owned it, and then I never got around to watching the whole thing. And I beat myself up with that because I've tried to find it and it's not on streaming. I'd like to. Oh my God, there's Mothra. Yeah, I want to finish watching Giant, but yeah, obviously he wasn't the leading role in that film, and that's what kind of bothered me the first time I watched it because I went into it thinking that he was when I first got that DVD set, and then I was like, oh man, he's not in a lot of these scenes. But Rebel was definitely his favorite film, or my favorite film of his, and I think his best movie. Which it did drop down a little bit for me the last time I watched it. It dropped from a 5 to a 4.5, but I mean that could change when next time I rewatch it. Who knows? Because it is the last film on my list that I have it at 4.5 and not a 5.
Yeah.
But it's a coming of when we do that list that's coming up soon on the Filmaholic, where we do top 10 coming of age films. This is definitely going to be on there because this is a coming of age film from the 50s. Great job. You can look at that character and understand like what he's going through, feel his emotion. His acting is incredible. Natalie Wood's in it. I think she does a great job.
If he
what was that?
Paul Newman would not have had a career.
No.
If James Dean had lived. You could just pick apart so many roles that, like, yeah, James Dean would have got that.
Well, it's when I watched HUD recently. I was like, yeah, that definitely would have been
him 100%. But yeah, my favorite James Dean movie. It'll be on my coming of age list too. I don't know where you're at.
Yeah, I don't know where at. Probably my top 5.
It's a 5-star for me, so it'll be up there. But yeah, that's my number 5 though.
My number 5.
Hey man,
this is one.
Number 6, dude. Get out of here.
Oh, my bad.
I got The Searchers.
Yeah, not on my list. Haven't seen it.
Yeah. It's not my favorite.
I want to see, but
it's
not
probably
streamed.
the best Western ever made. It's not my favorite, but it's the best one I've seen. John Wayne, teams up with John Ford again. Make this, it's John Ford's masterpiece, obviously.
This is early in his career, right?
This is 50 something, I think.
Oh, okay. So not too early.
Not that early.
Not sure either. Really.
But team up with him. He's I think it's Civil War soldier or veteran, and I think it's Natalie Wood is the one.
Yeah, she's in it. She's a kid in it.
But yeah, I think it's his niece is who she plays.
Well, I thought she was a much younger kid. than she was in Rebel. Is she not?
Well, no. Well, I think when the movie starts, it's over like a period of time. I can't remember how long.
Oh, this is a year after Rebel. This came out in 56.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking it was 40s, but.
Oh no! I don't wait. No. Way too far.
Vera Miles is in it. Cool.
But they go him and I can't remember what the actor's name is. They go and try to find her because she gets kidnapped by Native Americans. And you're gonna hate John Wayne's character. But it's just he's so well written. It's like it's racist. Like you get it's the most famous use of it. The shot, like the door with frame within a frame shot. You get that at the very end, but just phenomenal. Cinematography is incredible in this movie too. So you said you like the way westerns were looked back then, so you'll appreciate it a lot.
That's why I was watching Hondo recently.
Yeah,
it was an average film. Like I give it a 3. I liked it, but loved the cinematography in it.
Yeah, you'll appreciate the cinematography in The Searchers.
Nice. What did I watch after Hondo?
There's
another one with John Wayne that I was like, Oh, Rio Lobo.
Yeah, you said that was kind of boring.
It was boring. I gave it a 2.5. Wasn't for me. But also Stagecoach wasn't for me. I was bored watching that.
I gotta rewatch that sometime.
Moving on to my number 5, and this is where it picks up to 5-star perfect for me. And that's, I hope to add a lot more 5-star films to this list as I go on with watching movies. And this is one that I'm very surprised it's not on your list, and that's Peter Pan.
That's my number 3.
You told me it wasn't on your list, you bastard.
Gotta surprise you, dude.
Yeah, Peter Pan, my number 5, 1953. One of my favorite animated films, cartoons, whatever you want to call it. Definitely my favorite of Disney's outside of Pixar.
Yeah.
Watched this as a kid, had it on VHS.
Yeah, still got a VHS at my grandma's.
I have it on VHS at my dad's, as well as all of my Disney collection, but I don't know what I'm ever going to do with any of that.
I got it on the Disney exclusive steelbook over there.
Cool.
Your collection. Cool. Yeah. Love this character. And I love how every other adaptation just ruins it. Appreciate that.
You always have the animated one.
Yeah.
They never capture. Well, first of all, like a lot of these adaptations aren't Disney, so they can't adapt it fully like this. They can only pretty much adapt it from whatever the book or whatever. And
yeah,
I don't know. They're doing the adaptation again, which I assume is supposed to be off of this. And I don't know. They're probably not gonna get it right. Like I hope they do. But
Disney just do a live action remake like they're doing.
I don't know. They never capture the magic, the feel that I get when I watch this, and I just different things about it, just how magical it feels. I remember going. Do you remember when Greensboro? I don't know if you ever went there. 4 Seasons when they had a Disney store.
No.
Then when I was a kid, it was fit my. I don't remember when they got rid of it at 4 Seasons, but it was where Spencer's Gifts is now. But that used to be the Disney store in 4 Seasons, and
what irony.
Loved going in there as a kid. I didn't go in there much, but from when I remember going in there, I was just blown away. Just like, because they had, which the Disney stores that you go to now have some of this stuff, but they have a completely different feel. Obviously I'm older, so it's not going to feel the same. It's not going to feel as.
Just pop in there.
God, man, it just doesn't feel magical in here. But I don't know, the lighting's different, and they're all bright now, which is probably a good thing with all the kids around in a mall. It's probably good to turn the lighting up and space things out, But based off my memory of the Disney tour as a kid, it was like kind of dark in there. It was just like you had up on the walls and everything, like the like Peter Pan and stuff, whatever they're made out of. I don't want to say plastic, but you know what I'm talking about. Like they have them in the Disney store now, but they had all that stuff. And I remember Peter Pan being up there with Tinkerbell. I remember Goofy being in there. And then you obviously had all the stuff for sale. And then, like I said, it was darker. Kind of felt like a movie theater, a lobby type vibe. And then you walked on through it. And once you got past the register and everything, once you got to the very end, they had a big screen, like a projector screen with like commercials and stuff, or like new Disney movies that were coming out, or they might sometimes show a Disney movie in there. And then they had underneath the screen, they had a giant pit full of stuffed animals, like Disney stuffed animals. Just such a magical place for a kid, and just got rid of it.
Yeah, no more Spencer's.
God. I remember the mall also had, and this is off topic, the mall also had during that time a place called Frankenstein's or something, which like had hot dogs, and I think they had beer, I want to say, at the mall, because I was always like, I looked at the the name Frankenstein's, I was like, that looks cool, and my mom was like, no, we can't go there.
We're not going.
But yeah, my number 5.
Well, we said my number 5, so we're on my number 4. Jaws.
Bastard.
I told you I'd get you back.
Yeah, obviously Jaws is my number 1 favorite film before 1980. Until recently, this was my favorite film of all time. Now it's my second favorite film of all time. But between Jaws and the original Star Wars trilogy, if that gives you any hint about an upcoming number, that's what got me into film in the first place, watching these with my grandpa on VHS. Just Jaws is just one of the best. Some people consider it a horror film. I definitely do not consider it a horror film. You might have been scared, especially back then when it came out and you hadn't seen anything like that. And if you did, great. I think any emotion that you feel from a movie that makes you feel any sort of way other than just being pissed off because how bad it is a good thing. So, but I consider Jaws, looking at it more of a drama / adventure. Because you obviously got drama in there, but it's very much a venture film, just like going out there in the water, these guys, just and the dialogue between them. That's my second favorite scene of all time. Once again, was my favorite scene until recently with Once Upon a Time. That scene in the cabin on the boat, love it. Dialogue is fantastic. I adore the cinematography in Jaws, and the colors and everything with that. Probably the best adaptation ever too, I would say, of a book, because most a lot of people at least will say most of the time when you have adapt a book into film, the book is better. This is definitely not the case. Jaws is far much better film than it was a book. I don't know if have you read the book? Yeah. I read the book in high school. That was I think the only book I ever got from the library in high school, because I saw it and I was like, well, I have to read this. And I read it, and it wasn't a bad book, but it's very different. Does not have the same feel. If it's any indication of what happens, Hooper has an affair with Brody's wife. They used to know each other, and they have an affair. Didn't like that. Hooper dies at the end, too. They kill Hooper and Quint in the book. Brody's the only one who lives. There's another character, too, who's like a journalist, I think, who has a pretty big part. Also, based off my memory, they don't go on the boat until, like, the last fourth of the book. The rest is on the island.
That was the most exciting part on the island.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4. Yeah. I plan these strategically.
Did you want to say you done talking about it?
Yeah.
My number 4 is the last Hitchcock movie I have on my list, and that is Psycho from 1960. Not on your list?
No, not on my list.
Nope.
Maybe top 50.
Damn. Psycho is one of my favorite horror films. Just a pure cinematic masterpiece. It didn't used to be my favorite Hitchcock film, obviously. Originally, North by Northwest was my favorite Hitchcock film, and then Psycho passed it. Every time I watch Psycho, I'm just like blown away by that film coming out at the time it did, and just everything about it. I love the acting in it. Norman Bates, just creepy.
Creeper.
And then the entire cast, the directing, the cinematography for that. Obviously, it's in black and white. The decision to make it in black and white for budget reasons, but also for the rating system. They did, showing blood, all of that. They had to make it, and I think it works. I like it being in black and white. I think it adds to the cinematography, especially like the shower scene and just different moments. Not a whole lot of different sets. I mean, you have the sets at the different locations at the beginning, and then her in the car ride there. But then the rest is like the Bates Motel, and it's just that is so iconic too. Yeah, like there's so many movies that came out after that that's played off that film, really. But now every time you see one of those creepy like looking hotels on the side of a highway, you're like, nope, staying away from that. Not going there.
No business for me.
Just
Hilton up the road.
Yeah, no. Yeah, love this movie. Everything about it's perfect for me.
I need to watch it again. I got it over there. But...
Oh, and I can't not talk about the score too. The score is just amazing.
I don't remember it.
Oh man, you got to rewatch it.
Well, we said my number 3. On to my number 2.
Well, don't jump that far ahead. How many you got? You just got your 1 and 2?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I still have my number 3. Well, no, I just have my 2 and 3.
Yeah, because I took your number 1. So take that.
Well, I'll go ahead and say my number 3 then. Obviously, you know what my 3 is, and that is Rocky from 1976. Like I said, when I do my rewatch of the series, Rocky may move down. Rocky 2 may move up, what have you. But right now, I'm going to leave it there at Rocky being at number 3. One of my favorite franchises, in my top 5 favorite franchises of all time. Love the character Rocky. Used to watch these with my dad. It's my favorite sports film, the underdog story. But it's more than a sports film too. I was watching Stallone talk about it, how it's it's just this guy who's went through all this different stuff. He has this dream, but it's more of a love story at its core too, between him and Adrian. And to me, take that scene out of however you feel about that scene, but you wouldn't have the same movie, and I don't think it would work without Adrian, without that love story in there. Because that's really what you start to root for as you watch it. And that's what I'm saying going to the second one too. What I really appreciate about the second one, and what makes my favorite. I would still like Creed probably without those scenes, or I would like Creed without those scenes. But my favorite scene in Creed, and then I love the scene in Creed 2 when they bring up Adrian and they talk about that, connect it back to that. When he's talking about Adrian to Adonis in the locker room in Creed, that scene fucks me up. The scene in the beginning of Creed 2 that I like when they're talking about him proposing, and he recalls the story from Rocky 2 at the beginning when he proposes Adrian. That chokes me up right at the beginning of Creed 2 as well. But
that chokes you up.
I've only seen Creed 2 once though. I have it on Blu-ray and I haven't watched it since I saw it in theaters. But
not on my list. 4-star film.
Yeah, that's my number 3. What's your number 2?
Favorite Western, Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Incredible.
That's a 4-star film.
No, at me.
That's a 4-star film.
Nobody gets raped in it. James Stewart, John Ford, incredible. Yeah, I don't know. You missed it.
I mean, I give it 4 stars. What did I miss?
You missed a 1 star. That's what you missed.
You watched it recently. Jimmy Stewart's birthday. Turned it on. Just first John Wayne film I'd seen.
You'll watch it again.
Thought it was really good, but didn't blow me away.
Phenomenal. Lee Marvin, you get themes.
I do like Lee Marvin. He was also in The Dirty Dozen. Was that movie I watched recently with him in it?
You get different themes. What it means to be a man. This. What the expectations you have, and then the idea of legacy. And then you get it definitely resonates now with the idea of journalism, which stories to tell and why. But like I told you, talking about why they shot in black and white because they were so much older than their characters.
That was another thing, but I was like, that's stupid.
I love it because I can't see any other people in those two roles?
That's because you love the movie, and you
iconic.
weren't, or I guess, around at that time to look at other actors too that could fill those roles. Because I think that was just. I mean, obviously he had worked a lot with John Wayne, so he wanted him in there. But the whole Jimmy Stewart thing, and I love Jimmy Stewart, but I'm like, why would you do that?
Perfect for that role.
And I'm assuming because this character is supposed to be in like his 20s,
right out of college.
And no, Jimmy Stewart's his 50s when they filmed this. He's got like, his hair's like gray. It's not even his natural hair color anymore.
Yeah.
Or his original hair color, and I guess the character's supposed to have blonde hair. I don't know. I was just like, what is this?
It's incredible. I love it so much. I wish I could find it to get my own copy.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. Just please. Which studio put this out?
Probably Paramount, but I don't know for sure.
It's Paramount. Maybe they'll release a digibook soon because they're doing that with some of their movies. But yeah, just love the whole, all the themes.
What year was that?
This would have been 62? No.
It had to be in the 62. Yeah, that's what it was.
But yeah, favorite Western, movie Western.
Yeah, Paramount release.
Yeah, maybe they'll release it on Digibook.
And you have, what do you have left? Just your number one?
My number one, yep.
So I have only my number two left, and I'm going to go ahead and say that now, and that's Star Wars A New Hope, or just Star Wars if you want to call it that, because that's what it was when it was released, but now it's called Star Wars A New Hope. But 1977, like I said, this and Jaws is what really got me into film in the first place, watching this with my grandpa as a kid. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I mean, obviously it's going to be on my list, but just love the world that George Lucas created, something that just blew people away. It was unlike anything they'd ever seen before, taking them, felt like, to a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
Would have loved to have seen this in theaters. One of those, definitely, we'll do a list of that at some point too. I think you're writing these down because it's one of I think of top shelf ideas. That's one of the things that we'll be definitely doing is top 10 films, that we wish we had saw in theaters, and this will be on there. I can't imagine. Well, this and Empire might be on there if at least the whole 15, because this is like the first time, and the experience watching that with an audience, but then with the Empire, because you're really big on that reveal, that the father thing.
Huge reveal, dude. I don't know what you just love Star Wars so much, but you just don't care about the biggest reveal in cinematic
care about history. It is big.
It is huge, the biggest in cinematic history, and you're just like, no, I'm going to show my kids the prequels first.
It's just not my favorite thing about Star Wars. I think it's a thing of its time. I think we're past it now. We're past it.
You're past
it. It's the thing of its time.
You're past it.
I don't think it's going to matter to kids.
It'll matter. Like when your kid just slaps you right in the face. Why did you not show me this first?
But
keeping you away from when I have.
Yeah,
you ain't showing the prequels first.
That's the first thing I'm gonna say. I'll be like,
yeah.
Vader's Luke's dad.
Tell him Santa Claus. Yeah, Vader's his dad. Oh man, round for round. God, dude. I swear. Oh yeah, well, Rocky loses the first fight. Take that. Yeah, Adrian dies. Yeah, take that too.
Man.
Yeah. Get your kids to tear up right there. I'd show them that scene in Creed.
They're not gonna care. Not at that age.
I don't know what you're insane not showing the amount of respect for that scene that you should.
Yeah. Also introduced to some of my favorite movie characters of all time, including my second favorite movie character of all time, with Han Solo, Princess Leia, love her, and Darth Vader. So, number 2, 1977.
Is okay.
Yeah, okay.
Dune for kids, dude. My number one, you should be able to guess it. Process of
I've been sitting here trying to think about what your number one is, and you're gonna say it, and I'm gonna be like, wow, I don't know why.
You said it before when you were looking on Letterboxd trying to cheat. 12 Angry Men.
Oh yeah.
Phenomenal movie. Honestly, if there was any, that's another list you can write down. Movies we wish we could remake.
I have that one written down.
Oh well, screw me.
I have that watched.
Oh, nice. It's sick. Show your respect for that movie too. I know I watched it like 3 times when we lived together, so you caught it at least one of those times.
I watched it once. Because I know we were thinking about like who we would cast if we did a remake. But.
If there was just a movie, not because if I could make anything, it'd be Lonesome Dove. But if there was a movie I could remake, this would be up there for modern times. It's the perfect story for the social climate, everything that's happening. It's a fantastic screenplay. First of all, I say I'm a sucker for movies that take place in one setting.
Yeah, I know.
Yuck. It's just a phenomenal. When you're just in one setting, you're not focused on nothing else. You know you're going to be there the whole time. It works for me. You don't like plays though, and that definitely is what it feels.
Not really, and that is part of it. Like it works sometimes. Like it worked with Rope for me. It just depends on the story. Man, I like 12 Angry Men.
But I think it's phenomenal. Henry Fonda. I'm blanking on the main, I guess, antagonist, but it's the cop from The Exorcist. Can't remember his Lee J. Cobb, is that his name? You looking it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up here. There's the poster. Yeah, Lee J. Cobb, you got it right. Juror number 3.
Yeah.
Oh, I love how they don't even have names. It's just juror 1 through.
Just Henry Fonda and what is he? 8 and 9 are the only 2 that have names.
Well, on Letterboxd it just says Henry Fonda is juror number 8. And Joseph Sweeney is juror number 9.
Well, him and the older guy beside him, when they walk outside at the very end, they say their names. But I think the screenplay is fantastic. The way it just bounces back and forth off these characters, and you just slowly eliminate characters one by one until you just narrow it down to the last 2, and you realize like this is just it's personal for Lee J. Cobb because of what he went through with his son. No respect for the young generation, and it tears apart throughout the movie. Social issues. The race of the kid. What kind of economic background he came from, and then basically just how kind of lazy people are. Like they all just want to vote just to get out. Like one guy's got baseball tickets. I'll hop out of here, man. Like this guy's gonna die, but I got tickets to the game. I got to go see. But yeah, it's phenomenal, and if it would easily be one of the movies I would want to remake.
But would you keep the same title?
Yeah.
Well, you would switch it. You wouldn't have all.
Yeah, I wouldn't. No, but still, men is universal language.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sure I'd get some backlash for it. Oh, wow, you got to use that title. Oh, God.
It wouldn't. I don't know. Like you're obviously you would be remaking a story.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what you would call it.
I would call it 12 Angry Men.
Well, I don't. Anything else? I don't know. Like 12 Angry People.
No, I would not go see that movie.
12 Angry People.
I would call it 12 Angry Men because that's still men is just the universal term. Even if you have, I mean, my cast decisions have changed since we talked. Anyway, but people have new actors come, this and that. But yeah, I mean, there would still be it would be men and women in my movie, but it's still getting called 12 Angry Men.
Okay.
But I think it's definitely. I don't know what studio it is, but I don't know why they haven't funded a remake or an Oscar push. This movie could sweep the Oscars if it was made correctly.
Yeah, could. Could just have Clint Eastwood make it.
No. But it is the perfect Oscar movie. When you look at it, I don't know why it didn't. I guess nobody watched it when it came out.
I have to check and see if it's streaming because that is something we could do for What If coming up some point. But I'd want to rewatch the film first. It says it's on Amazon Prime.
It's streaming on Prime?
Yeah. So you need to check that out soon. Rewatch it maybe next week.
I'm not going to give away my casting decisions.
I'm curious who your casting decisions are.
I'd have to rewatch it, and then I'd change my mind 100 more times on who I want. It would still be a guy for the main antagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like with that relationship, if you keep it with the son, I think that it works better with the father and son, like the animosity you would have towards them.
I have to watch it. I don't even know.
Yeah, because I know like from the script. I mean, I would keep the script about the same.
What do you mean the son?
The main antagonist's son, they got into a fight, and they hadn't talked for years, and that's what he just like. He said it, it leads up to it, but he's talking about, that's how the generation is, their parents, this and that.
I mean, that's all based on your casting choices, whatever. But like, if you wanted to switch it based off that and the relationship, you could switch it to him and his daughter got in a fight, and then have the main be a woman.
Yeah. But no, you're talking about, like, if I kept it in there, talking about how his son hit him.
His son hit him?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that doesn't,
it's not recorded, dude.
It's more man, she's on trial. He's the juror for his own daughter, guilty. But yeah, I don't know. I would have some out there choices that people would not agree with, I'm sure. Because I can see Mel Gibson playing that role, and people aren't having it.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like people like Daddy's Home too, dude.
But he was not the main.
He was a big part of it, though.
I don't know.
But they brought their families to see that movie. They're not bringing their families out to see 12 Angry Men.
Yeah, but I mean, even an Oscar push, like people are, oh god, wow, Mel Gibson. Underrated talent.
All right, well, that's our top shelf for this week. Next week, I think we have top 10 movie openings.
Yes.
Next week. All right, guys, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys next week.